In 1981, his destination was Boca Juniors, Argentina's most popular and successful club. The transfer fee was $500,000, a then record between Argentinian clubs.
For us, it was very sad that he went to Boca, a team that we just don't like at all. Diego was suited to another team, with a different style of play to Boca's. Boca was a team of grit. But here, against whoever we played, people used to say that they couldn't believe such a youngster was playing in the first division. And Diego finished top scorer.
Today, Maradona would cost no less than 200 or 300 million euros for sure. But the country didn't speak about anything else. The country went mad. Maradona was a superstar and was signing for the country's most popular club.
And he was in good company, alongside more experienced campaigners such as Ugo Gatti, Oscar Ruggeri and Miguel Angel Brindisi. Maradona blossomed at the Bombonera. And he fulfilled a boyhood dream by joining Boca at the expense of their greatest rivals, River Plate.
The whole family supported Boca. It's a passion that you cannot explain. What happened was that River wanted me, and so I invented a story that actually Boca wanted me. River said to my agent that I would earn the same as Passarella and Filiol. So I said that I didn't want to earn as much as them. I just wanted to earn my salary, but I just didn't want to go to River. So I made up that story about Boca. But they didn't have a peso and really couldn't buy anybody. So we agreed a very strange contract with Boca, where they said that they would pay for my apartment. It was ridiculous, really, but I told my agent that I wanted to join Boca, and everything was completed very quickly.
Maradona's performances came from the heart. He'd arrived at his spiritual home.
Boca mean everything to me. I have two daughters, and one is a bigger fanatic than the other. But when Dalma goes to see them play, she ends up eating her fingers, not just her fingernails. She goes to the games and always says, "Thanks, Dad, for making me a Boca fan." That's something you just can't buy.
Maradona proved inspirational, scoring 17 goals in 1981. He and his beloved Boca were champions.
I had an injury, but I still played, and we won the championship in 1981 with Boca. That was absolutely fantastic, because we attracted full houses in whichever stadium that we played.
Despite his ability, he still had his critics. Some observers believe Maradona was still far from the finished article.
With Boca, he didn't always reach the heights in every game that he showed afterwards, when he was without doubt the best player in every game that I saw him in. At Boca, he had some great performances, some outstanding games, and in others, he was less prominent, and went missing on occasions too. Diego was very important in that title success for Boca, and underlined the fact that he was a huge star at the time, but his greatest period for me was after 1981.
That period would be in another country on another continent. The big European clubs were clamouring for his signature, and after just 1 year with Boca Juniors, Maradona joined Spanish giants Barcelona in 1982 for a then world record fee of $2.5 million. This despite a nationwide effort to keep him in the country.
Before the arrival of democracy in Argentina in 1983, the country was run by a dictatorship. In all the stadia, the fans would chant a song which had been invented. Maradona is not for sale. Maradona is not going anywhere. Maradona is Argentinian and part of our national heritage. Organisations began to appear, linked to brand names, which started to collect funds so as to attempt to block his transfer and prevent his move abroad. Well, all this didn't work, of course, and he was finally sold to Barcelona.
The country was in a bad way. We wouldn't even get paid, and so the club couldn't afford to keep me. So Barcelona came along with the money, and they got me. I never even played in the Copa Libertadores, even when I'd won the domestic title with Boca. I never even played one Libertadores match after winning the league with Boca. It's incredible.
At the 1982 World Cup, Maradona was now 21, and Menotti considered him to be mature enough to handle the pressure. As holders, Argentina opened the tournament against Belgium at Maradona's new home, Barcelona's Camp Nou. But national pride remained his sole focus.
I always put playing for my country before anything else. For me, the Argentina shirt was the priority. And it's not just the priority when you turn professional. That's how I've always thought, ever since I was a small boy.
The Belgian game plan was to man-mark Maradona, who as a result failed to influence the game as he would have liked. The Belgians went on to record a surprise 1-0 win. Argentina would have to regroup.
Diego was perhaps already the best player in the world in '82 because of the magic he produced on the pitch. But we weren't a team. We were 11 individuals doing our own thing. We never gelled though. We had good players, but we were never a great side.
Argentina won their next 2 games to qualify for the second round group stage. Those wins included 2 goals for Maradona in a 4-1 defeat of Hungary. They were special to him, being his first in the final stages of a World Cup.
To wear the Argentina shirt is the maximum any footballer can aspire to. A player can celebrate a goal wearing the Napoli shirt, for example, but to do the same thing wearing the national team shirt is another feeling altogether.
In their opening Group C match, they faced Italy. The Azzurri had scraped through to this stage on goal difference after drawing their 3 group games. The Italian defender Claudio Gentile was assigned to man-mark Maradona. The Italian game plan was simple: stop Maradona, stop Argentina.
The aim of Gentile was to stop him playing, and it worked quite well, because Maradona didn't have a great game. In order to stop Maradona, you had to use your hands, your feet, you had to kick him. Otherwise there was no way of stopping him. I think it would be even greater if he played football today, because no one could foul him as much as they did in '82. Gentile marked him fairly heavily, but it would have been the same if I'd been marking Maradona. The only way you could stop Maradona was like that.
Italy played us first in a dirty game, a game that changed the history of football a little, because the skillful players began to be offered protection due to the treatment handed out by the Italians to Maradona, especially Gentile. FIFA changed the rules and began to protect those flair players.
That was the intention, to mark Maradona in any way possible. It's not like it was prepared, but we had to anticipate him, get there before him, foul him. All types of things, like making him nervous, not letting him play, not letting him get the ball. You had to think about all those things before the game. Above all, you had to stop him from turning, because if you let him turn, a player like Maradona cannot have the same effect if he's not able to face goal. And so Gentile did superbly by marking him in that way, sticking tightly to him.
Despite receiving a yellow card in the opening minute, Gentile neutralised Maradona. It was treatment he would become accustomed to. And with their star player nullified, Argentina lost 2-1.
Italy beat us, and we went into the next game against Brazil, knowing that if we were to have a chance of going through, we had to win 3-0. And if you go into a game knowing you have to win 3-0, it's very tough. And when your opponents are Brazil, it's virtually impossible. Without doubt, Brazil had a great team. In my opinion, it was the best Brazilian team that didn't win the World Cup. They had some exceptional players. But we also had some great players. We had the bulk of the team from '78 that had won the World Cup. And what's more, there was Diego Maradona, who in those 4 years had become the greatest player in the world.
But the Brazilian class of '82 was a team full of talent. And they took the lead when Eder's free kick led to a tap-in for their own number 10 and talisman, Zico.
It was a game where some of the biggest names in world football were on the pitch. We were more of a team, whereas they were more about individuals playing together.
Brazil went on to win 3-1. The defeat eliminated Argentina from the tournament, and they relinquished their crown as World Cup holders. To make matters worse, Maradona's first World Cup ended with a red card. He was sent off for a challenge on Brazilian midfielder Batista. His frustration all too evident.
Diego didn't have a good World Cup in '82. He had great games like against Hungary, and also poor games by his standards, especially the last two against Italy and Brazil. Of course, he also got sent off in the match against Brazil. So all in all, it was a sad World Cup for Diego.
Next time on Dios, the controversy continues.
It reached the point where I didn't want to train with Barcelona anymore. I was at home, waiting to see if anyone wanted to sign me.
And in an unfashionable city, he becomes an instant hero.
Words can't explain the enthusiasm that it created in the city. People were dreaming about seeing Diego.